everyone, it's Holmes from Holmes Storybooks, and welcome to another edition of Holmes Recommends, where I recommend you 3 or more books based on a particular topic or theme. Moonlight was probably one of my favourite films of all time. It is visually stunning, the soundtrack makes my heart ache, and the experience of watching it for the first time is something I will never forget. Directed by Barry Jenkins in 2016, Moonlight is a coming-of-age story about a young black man told in 3 parts. Little when he's a child, Chevron when he's a teenager, and then Black when he's a young man. It is a story of love, survival, sex, and the strength it takes to be yourself when everything around you is toxic. Moonlight won Oscar for Best Picture, and if you know the drama from the Oscars a couple of years ago, it was accidentally awarded to La La Land. Now, I'm not a big Oscars party watcher, but I was watching this year purely for this film. When La La Land apparently won, I muted my television and cursed the heavens and everything in between. A friend of mine texted me and said, they won. They won Best Picture. When I looked up again, the crew was already on stage. The first LGBTQIA film to win Best Picture. The first all-black cast to win Best Picture. And I cried for about half an hour. This film means so much to me, and of course my homage involves books. Let's take a look at the list, shall we? I've split these recommendations up into 3 parts, one for each of the main protagonists' life stages, Little, Chevron, and Black. Starting with Little, I have Large Fears by Myles and illustrated by Kendrick Daye, which is a picture book about a little black boy called Jeremiah, who is not a bullfrog, but a little black boy who likes pink things. He wants to travel to Mars, because maybe there will be other boys like him there who also like pink things. This book is a beautiful exploration of toxic masculinity and how confronting your fears and accepting yourself can empower you more than anything. The writing can be a little clunky at times, but Daye's illustrations are totally gorgeous, and it's worth reading for the dedication alone. I wish I could cross fictional boundaries and give this to the character of Little, to reassure him that it's alright to be different, that our differences is what makes us special and exceptional. The second recommendation, based on Chevron, is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. The Color Purple is a timeless classic about a young girl called Sally who grows up in an abusive home and is then trapped in a loveless marriage until she meets the glamorous singer Shug Avery, who teaches her magic and about Sally's own magic. This book is an awakening. Sally is strong yet vulnerable. She's compassionate, she's resilient, and can forgive so much. Not for others, but for herself. It deserves so much more than the Pulitzer Prize, and it changed the way I feel about my feminism forever. I paired this book with Chevron because it's a queer classic that has stood the test of time. And Sally taught me you can always choose to do good, you can always choose love, and you never have to compromise on being who you are because of where you come from. This last recommendation I paired with Black, and it is the poetry collection Don't Call Us Dead by Danez. Don't Call Us Dead is a poetry collection that burns brightly and fiercely. In this poetry collection, Smith takes queer black young men, boys as brown as rye bread, and creates a paradise for them, so that when they die at the hands of police violence, they can be loved, cherished, and honoured in the way they deserve. Smith uses his poetry to discuss some things that the queer community has long neglected, racism on Grindr, HIV diagnoses, and writes them into being. With the ugly and the beautiful side by side, it feels like life. We see a lot of young black men dying at the hands of police violence, and it's exhausting and hard to picture an alternative. Without being able to see an alternative, we accept, as difficult as it might be, that this is the way things are, this is how they have to be, this is how they've been. Smith, without ever disregarding his history, shows us what that paradise might look like. And it's black, and it's beautiful. The other books I want to read for this collection are, of course, In Moonlight, Black Boys Look Blue by Tarell, Alvin, McCraney, which is the play or screenplay that Moonlight is based on. It is a semi-autobiographical exploration of McCraney's mother's death from AIDS. I'd love to see how the author crafts this piece of his life. The last book I'd love to read is B-Boy Blues by James L. Hardy. It is a debut novel set in New York City and revolves around the lives of some gay African American men. It is written unapologetically for Black queer men, and it is supposed to be a rough, sexy romance, dripping with humor and compassion. I applaud Hardy for writing something so deeply authentic, and I can't wait to read it. That's all for this episode of Holmes Recommends. Have you heard of any of these books? Are you interested in reading them? Did you cry out at the betrayal of the Academy when La La Land apparently won Best Picture? I know I did. That's all for this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone!